This video explains Excel tables, focusing on how to create them and how to take advantage of their benefits. Once you know how to use Excel tables correctly, you'll use them all the time, I promise, and I'll show you how to do it. First, let's compare two tables. The spreadsheet here is called Sales. It's already in table format. But let's switch over to the sheet named Sheet 1. This sheet contains the raw data we're going to use, and this is often how you begin using your data in Excel. This file is available for download. Check the description, and you can follow along with this video. That would be a quick way to learn this information and reinforce it, so you'll know how to use these features when needed. But first, let's see how to convert this raw data into an Excel table. It's pretty easy. Simply click anywhere on the data on Sheet 1 or on any continuous data you want to use. Now on the top menu, select Insert and then Table. Note the dialog box that appears. Make sure My Table Has Headers is selected and click OK. And you've done it. That's it. You've turned the raw data into a table. However, there are a couple more steps you might want to do. The main one is that up in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the table name. It's usually table 1, 2, or 3, or something like that. What you want to do is give it your own name. And we're going to, in this case, I'm going to give it the name My Table. Now, when you give it a name, just make sure that it doesn't have any blanks in it. And that's really about all there is to do to first create a table. Now, you could use Ctrl+T or Command+T instead of using Insert Table. It does the same thing. So once you've created an Excel table, it makes it so much easier to use other Excel features such as pivot tables. And you can see my video on pivot tables to see what I mean. Okay, now that we have an Excel table, let's explain the anatomy of this table. First, note the row headers. Each column has a name. Typically, that name explains the contents of the column, and the data in that column are consistent. For example, in region, you have 1, 2s, and 3s. In area, site, and type, the information in here is of character type, not numbers. In month, you have a month abbreviation. And in sales, you have real numbers, numbers that we can use in arithmetic, such as summing, finding averages, or percentages. It's important that the information in each column is consistent. Now let's look at some other features of the table. Notice the default banded design of the table. This helps you keep track of data along a row. If you scroll down, notice here that the first row is actually pinned. And what that means is, as I scroll down, the top row doesn't go away. So I can, no matter where I am in the table, I can see what the column name is. Now, what if we wanted to add more data to the last item, for instance, of the row? If we go down to the end, click here on the end, if I press Tab, a new row shows up, and I can add information there. I'm going to do a Ctrl+Z or a Command+Z and get rid of that because I don't really want that at the moment. I could also, just like in a regular Excel file, I could go to a row over on the left-hand side, do a right-click, Insert, and then insert more information. I'm going to do that a little bit later, but so we'll hold off on that right now. So let's say you want to add a total to the end of this column of sales. So again, I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom and show you how you can do that. First of all, make sure you're on Table Tools and Table Design, and notice there's an option called Total Row. If I click on that, I see that I get a number here, 3337. That's the sum of all of the sales information. Now, if I click on the 3337, notice that there's a down arrow right next to it. If I click on that down arrow, I can choose other kinds of pieces of information that I want here. So instead of sum, maybe I want average. I can choose that. Or I can choose sum, back to sum. Or I can choose count. Whatever I want to do here, I can choose from that down arrow key. Now let's go back to the top of this table and notice again this has down arrows as well in each column right next to the name. If I click on that, then I also get some options that I can do for that column. For instance, I can sort from smallest to largest or largest to smallest, and I can do certain searches. Let's choose largest to smallest. And notice here now my data is sorted so that region 3 shows up. I could change that to smallest to largest or largest to smallest by choosing that. And now if you've chosen a sort and you don't want it anymore, there's no real way to cancel it, but you could do a Ctrl+Z, which I'm going to do a couple of Ctrl+Zs here and get rid of that. Another thing I can do is select. So let's say I want to deselect number 1 or region 1. I deselect it, choose OK, and now I'm only seeing 2 and 3. I can go back up here, and in this case I can re-choose 1 and get it back to where it was. So that gives you some options of how you can sort the data. You can also choose different designs for your table. If I click anywhere on the table and then go up here and make sure I have Table Tools, Table Design, you'll see that there's a number of designs you can select. And if you want to, click on the down arrow and you get even more different designs that you can choose. So simply choose the design that you want for the look of your table. Another handy option for Excel tables is called the slicer. To show you how that works, again, click on the table. Make sure you have a table design menu up and look for the option called Insert Slicer. If I click on that, then a list of the column names appears in a dialog box. For this example, we're going to select month and click OK. Now another dialog box appears showing the 2 months in the data, November and December. To slice the data for only November, I simply click on it and now only see November here. Notice there is no December anywhere. Or if I want December, I click on December and that shows me only December. If I want to get rid of this slicer, I can simply click on the clear filter and it brings it back to normal. And if I want to get rid of this dialog box totally, I simply click on it and press the delete key. So the slicer gives you another option of how you can take a look at your data. Another option you might use is called removing duplicates. First, I'm going to add a duplicate. So I'm going to go over here to 12 and do a right click and insert a blank line. Then I'm just going to copy the information in 11, paste it in 12, and so now I have 2 lines that are identical. Now you may have, if you only have a few, a dozen pieces of data in your data set, you might be able to look and find duplicates visually. But if you have several hundred or 1,000 or whatever, then it's hard to find those duplicates. So this gives you a way to find and eliminate duplicates. So to use this, I simply click on my table, go up here again to Table Design, and choose the option called Remove Duplicates. If I click on that, it shows me that it's currently looking at all of the columns and that my data has headers. If I choose OK, it told me that 1 duplicate value was found and removed. 7 remain. I click OK, and now that duplicate value is gone. Let's take a look at a neat feature of Excel tables, and that is, let's say I want to add a new column to this table. I'm going to just click right here, right next to the sales, and let's say I want to maybe calculate how much the sales would be if I extended it for a year, so in other words times 12. So I'm going to simply put a name here, and I'm going to call it extend underscore YR, extended sales per year. Now notice what it did. It added a new column to my table, just like the other columns, not just a plain column, but an actual column in the table. Now, here's some magic here. I'm going to click in this cell, the first cell, and what I'm interested in doing is a calculation that's 12 times the value of the sales for that particular region, area, and site. So that's F2. So 12 times F2. Now watch when I press enter. It fills in all the sales. So that's a really cool feature of having a table in Excel, is where you can enter an entire column of information without having to enter one and then dragging to extend it to all the cells. So that's a cool feature. To wrap things up, let's look at one more option. Again, make sure you're clicked on the table somewhere and choose the Table Design menu. And now, if I want to click on Convert to Range, it'll ask me, am I sure I want to do this? Now, what it's going to do is it's going to take this table, Excel table, and convert it back to basically raw data. So if that's what you want to do, you click Yes, and it's done it. Notice that the little arrows at the top where each column is gone. However, it did keep the bands, which is sort of nice. So that's a way to convert your table back to a raw table if that's what you need to do. Now, as I mentioned earlier, creating such Excel tables and doing all of this information is a first step in often using something like pivot tables. And I encourage you to look at that video of mine when you have time. And now you know a lot more than most people who use Excel, and you can put all this information in action, and it'll save you a lot of time and headaches in the future. So I hope this video was interesting. If so, please like it and subscribe, and look for my other Excel tutorials. My goal, as always, is to make learning Excel as easy as possible. Thanks, and I'll see you again sometime.